Ladies and gentlemen, let me break this down for you so it hits home. Your mindset is the soil and money is the fruit. See, everyone wants the fruit. Everyone wants the sweet taste of financial freedom, the juicy abundance of wealth, the comfort and options that come with it. But most people are out here trying to pick fruit from barren trees. Why? Because they haven't cultivated the soil. Bad soil cannot produce good fruit. Your mindset determines your results in every area of your life. Too many people are trying to fix their finances by looking for new opportunities, new business models, or new strategies, but they never stop to examine the way they think. They don't realize that their mindset is the invisible force that shapes everything they do. The soil in your mind determines what kind of seeds can grow and whether those seeds will ever produce a harvest. You can take the same opportunity, give it to two different people, and one will turn it into a fortune while the other loses everything. It's not the opportunity that made the difference, it's the soil the opportunity was planted in. Imagine planting a seed in rocky, dry, and toxic soil. It doesn't matter how much you water it, it doesn't matter how much sunlight it gets, that seed doesn't stand a chance. That's exactly what happens when you have a poverty mindset, a mindset full of fear, scarcity, and doubt. You can pour all the effort in the world into your business or your career, but if your thinking is wrong, your results will always reflect that. That's why some people work harder and harder, yet never seem to get ahead. They're trying to grow fruit in soil that was never prepared to sustain life. Most people think money comes from effort alone. But effort applied to bad thinking is wasted energy. Money is the fruit. Fruit doesn't grow by struggling and striving. It grows naturally when the soil is healthy. You don't have to beg a tree to produce oranges. You don't have to convince an apple tree to bring forth apples. If the soil is right and the tree is healthy, the fruit will come as a natural consequence. Your mindset works the same way. When your beliefs are fertile, when your thoughts are aligned with abundance, when you understand the laws of wealth creation, the fruit will appear. You don't chase the fruit, you cultivate the soil. There are people who sabotage their own harvest because their soil is full of weeds. Those weeds show up as limiting beliefs. I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve wealth. There's never enough money. Those thoughts choke out every good seed they try to plant. Even if they get a glimpse of success, they can't sustain it because the weeds take over. They haven't done the inner work to create a mindset that can handle wealth. That's why lottery winners often go broke within a few years. The money came, but the soil was never prepared to support the fruit. The mindset stayed the same, and the results reverted to match it. You have to understand that wealth is not about luck, and it's not about external circumstances. Two people can grow up in the same neighborhood with the same challenges, and one will rise to abundance while the other stays stuck. The difference is not in their environment, but in their inner environment. The person who rises above has cultivated soil that can support their vision. They've uprooted the weeds of doubt and replaced them with seeds of faith, persistence, and value creation. The soil doesn't care what you plant. It will grow weeds just as quickly as it grows flowers. That's why you have to guard your mind. Be intentional about what you allow in, because every thought is a seed. If you plant thoughts of fear, lack, and limitation, your harvest will be a life that reflects those things. If you plant thoughts of abundance, gratitude, and possibility, your harvest will reflect that too. The process is simple, but it's not easy. It requires you to examine every belief you've accepted as truth and ask, is this serving me or is this sabotaging me? Changing the soil takes work. It means pulling up roots that have been there for years. It means breaking up hard ground and fertilizing it with new ideas. It means listening to people who are already producing the kind of fruit you want in your own life and modeling their thinking, not just their actions. Too often, people try to copy someone's actions without adopting their mindset. That's like trying to grow grapes in desert sand because you saw a vineyard in Italy. You're using the same techniques, but the soil isn't prepared, so the results aren't the same. When you finally understand that the soil determines the fruit, everything changes. You stop blaming circumstances. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop chasing external fixes and start doing the inner work that produces lasting change. Money is not the cause, it's the effect of value creation and belief systems. People often look at money as if it's the root of success, as if having more of it will solve every problem in their lives, but they fail to see that money is never the starting point. It is always the byproduct of something deeper. It is the fruit that grows from a tree, and that tree grows out of the soil of your thinking, your habits, and the value you bring into the world. If you don't understand this, you will spend your whole life chasing money instead of attracting it. The truth is, money flows to those who solve problems. It flows to those who bring solutions, to those who create opportunities, and to those who operate with the right principles. When your belief system is aligned with value creation, you don't have to force money to come to you. It comes as a natural response to the value you've added. On the other hand, when your belief system is rooted in scarcity, fear, and entitlement, you repel money no matter how hard you work. You might make some for a little while, but you will not keep it because your thinking is not built to sustain it. Think of the person who wins a lottery jackpot. Overnight, they go from broke to having millions of dollars in their bank account. But within a few years, studies show most of them are right back where they started or even worse. Why? Because the money was never the cause of wealth, it was just an effect. They received the effect without developing the mindset and value systems that produce and maintain wealth, so they sabotaged their own success. Their internal blueprint could not handle the external fruit. Contrast that with the person who starts with nothing but builds a thriving business over time. They weren't handed the fruit. They planted seeds, they nurtured them, they cultivated habits, and they developed systems that produced a harvest. Even if they lost everything tomorrow, they could rebuild it because they have become the kind of person who understands how to create value in the marketplace. Their mindset has become fertile soil, and the fruit of money naturally grows out of that. So many people spend their energy on chasing money instead of focusing on the source, their thinking and their ability to create value. They ask, how can I get more money, when they should be asking, how can I become more valuable? Money is nothing more than a certificate of appreciation for value delivered. If you want more certificates, you have to deliver more value. You have to increase your capacity to solve bigger problems for more people. Belief systems play a critical role in this process because they either limit or expand your perception of what's possible. If you believe that money is hard to get, you will act in ways that make it harder for you to get it. If you believe that wealth is reserved for a chosen few, you will unconsciously exclude yourself from ever attaining it. But if you believe that wealth is the result of principles that can be learned, applied, and mastered, you open yourself up to opportunities that were invisible before. Your beliefs determine your choices, and your choices determine your outcomes. Value creation starts with seeing yourself as someone capable of contributing. You cannot give what you do not believe you possess. If you see yourself as limited, you will create limited value. If you see yourself as abundant, you will begin to create abundant value. The marketplace doesn't pay you for time. It doesn't pay you for effort. It pays you for results, for solutions, for impact. To increase your income, you must increase the quality and quantity of the value you deliver, and to do that, you must upgrade the way you think. Money is simply a mirror reflecting your inner world back to you. If you don't like what's in your bank account, don't attack the fruit. Check the root. Examine the systems you've built, the beliefs you hold, and the problems you're solving. Ask yourself if you're operating with the mindset of a consumer or the mindset of a producer. Consumers chase money because they want to spend it. Producers attract money because they're focused on creating value and multiplying resources. You can't plant seeds of fear and expect a harvest of abundance. Fear is like poison in the soil. It seeps into every seed you plant, stunting its growth before it even has a chance to sprout. People often wonder why their efforts don't produce the results they want. They work harder, they try new strategies, they even invest in new opportunities, but nothing changes. The reason is simple. They are planting seeds of fear, doubt, and limitation, and they are expecting those seeds to produce a harvest of prosperity and freedom. That's not how the law of sowing and reaping works. Every thought you think, every word you speak, and every belief you hold is a seed. When you plant thoughts of lack, when you speak words of limitation, when you rehearse beliefs rooted in fear, you are planting seeds that will grow into a harvest consistent with their nature. Fear cannot produce faith. Scarcity cannot produce abundance. Worry cannot produce wealth. The seed determines the harvest. The nature of the seed carries within it the blueprint for the fruit it will produce. If the seed is fear, the fruit will be anxiety, hesitation, and missed opportunities. Fear causes paralysis. It keeps you from taking the very actions that would create progress. You hesitate to invest in yourself because you're afraid of losing. You hold back from pursuing opportunities because you're afraid of failure. You play small because you're afraid of criticism. And every time you act from fear, you reinforce it in your subconscious mind, making it harder and harder to step into abundance. Fear becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The very thing you're afraid of, lack, loss, or failure becomes your reality because your fearful mindset shapes your choices, and those choices produce fearful outcomes. Abundance begins with planting seeds of faith. Faith and fear cannot coexist in the same soil. You must decide which one will dominate your mind. Faith is not pretending that there are no challenges. Faith is choosing to believe that no challenge is bigger than the principles that govern wealth and success. When you plant seeds of faith, you take action even when you don't have all the answers. You invest in your growth even when the outcome is not guaranteed. You move forward even when the path is unclear because you trust that the harvest will come if you tend to the soil and nurture the seeds. People often think their problem is external, a lack of money, a lack of opportunity, or a lack of connections. But the real problem is internal. It is the fear that whispers, "You're not enough, you'll fail, it's too risky." Those fearful thoughts create emotional states that cause people to shrink instead of expand. Fear causes them to protect what little they have instead of multiplying it. Fear keeps them trapped in survival mode, unable to see possibilities beyond their current circumstances. When you plant seeds of fear, you also attract fearful experiences. The energy you put out shapes the way others respond to you and the opportunities that come your way. A fearful person rarely inspires confidence in investors, partners, or customers. Fear communicates lack, and lack repels abundance. But when you operate from faith and confidence, you create an environment where abundance can flourish. You attract people and resources aligned with growth because you are sowing seeds that carry the blueprint of expansion. Your mind is like a garden. If you don't intentionally plant seeds of faith, the weeds of fear will take over by default. Fear doesn't need permission to grow. It thrives in neglect. It multiplies in minds that are not actively cultivated. Every time you consume negative news, dwell on worst-case scenarios, or replay past failures, you are watering the weeds of fear. Those weeds choke the life out of any seeds of abundance you try to plant later. You must take control of the process and choose what grows in your mental garden. If you want abundance, you have to uproot fear at the root. You have to confront it, challenge it, and replace it with empowering beliefs. You have to speak words that affirm possibility, not limitation. You have to take actions that reinforce faith, even in the face of uncertainty. Faith is the only seed that can produce a harvest of abundance, and it only grows in a mind that has been prepared to receive it. Wealth flows to those who cultivate discipline, vision, and service in their thinking. Discipline is the foundation because without it, even the best ideas and intentions will wither before they have a chance to grow. Discipline is what keeps you consistent when motivation fades. It is the ability to do the right thing even when you don't feel like it, to stay committed to a process long enough for the harvest to come. Too many people want instant results, but they forget that fruit takes time to grow. A tree doesn't bear fruit the same day you plant the seed. It requires daily care, attention, and patience. Discipline creates the structure in your life that allows wealth to grow without being choked by distractions, laziness, or emotional decision-making. Vision is the second key because without vision, discipline can turn into aimless effort. Vision gives you direction. It is the picture of the future you are moving toward, the reason behind your actions, the purpose that fuels your work. Without vision, people perish because they don't know where they are going. They become like a farmer who wakes up each day working hard in the fields, but has no plan for what to plant or when to harvest. Vision allows you to see beyond your current circumstances and align your daily habits with a future goal. It transforms mundane tasks into meaningful steps toward a greater purpose. Vision gives you the ability to endure challenges because you know they are temporary and part of the process of building something significant. Service is the final piece because wealth is a direct reflection of the value you bring into the lives of others. If you are not solving problems, you are not creating wealth. The size of the problems you are willing to solve and the number of people you serve determine the level of wealth that flows to you. Service requires you to shift your focus from "what can I get" to "what can I give." It requires you to see yourself as a producer rather than just a consumer. When you embrace service as a mindset, you stop competing for scraps and start creating opportunities for yourself and others. Service opens doors that selfishness will always keep closed. Discipline, vision, and service work together to create a mindset that attracts wealth naturally. Discipline keeps you rooted. Vision keeps you growing in the right direction. Service ensures that what you are producing has value in the marketplace. Without discipline, you will quit too soon. Without vision, you will drift without purpose. Without service, you will try to extract wealth instead of earning it through contribution. These three qualities form a foundation that can sustain abundance because they develop you into the kind of person who can handle success. Many people want the results without developing these qualities. They want the fruit without growing the tree. They want wealth to flow into their lives without cultivating the mindset that makes it possible. They are looking for shortcuts, quick fixes, and external advantages. But wealth that comes without discipline is soon wasted. Wealth without vision is misdirected and squandered. Wealth without service is hollow and unsustainable. The world rewards those who solve problems and create value, and this only happens when your mindset has been conditioned to prioritize discipline, vision, and service. A disciplined mind allows you to avoid distractions that lead others astray. A clear vision gives you the ability to see opportunities where others see obstacles. A heart for service motivates you to build solutions that others need and are willing to pay for. Together, these qualities position you as a channel through which wealth can flow, because you have become a steward of principles that govern abundance. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. Everything you see in your life right now, your finances, your relationships, your health, is a direct result of what has been happening in your mind. People often try to change their circumstances without changing themselves, but they fail to understand that the external world only mirrors what is happening internally. It's like looking into a mirror and getting angry at the reflection without realizing the image you see is coming from you. You cannot produce lasting change on the outside until you create transformation on the inside. If you are living in lack, it is because there is lack in your thinking. If you feel stuck, it is because there are patterns in your mind that are holding you in place. If you are constantly overwhelmed by problems, it is because your internal focus is trained on what is missing instead of on what is possible. This is why two people can face the same challenges, yet one rises above while the other collapses under the weight. The difference is not the situation. The difference is the internal lens through which they view the world. Your beliefs act as filters that shape the way you interpret reality. If you believe opportunities are scarce, your mind will ignore or even reject opportunities when they show up. If you believe wealth is only for certain people, you will unconsciously sabotage yourself whenever success starts to come your way. These limiting beliefs operate silently in the background, scripting your behavior and your choices without you even realizing it. To change your outer world, you must identify and uproot these destructive thought patterns and replace them with empowering ones that align with abundance and possibility. Your inner world is the soil where everything begins. If the soil is toxic, nothing healthy will grow no matter how many seeds you plant. You can have the best strategies, the right mentors, and access to resources, but if your internal soil is full of fear, resentment, and self-doubt, the harvest will be barren. The mind attracts experiences that align with its dominant thoughts and emotions. If you dwell on scarcity, you will magnetize lack. If you focus on gratitude and expansion, you will begin to see doors open that were previously invisible. People often underestimate the power of thoughts and emotions, but they act as a blueprint for the reality you are building. Every decision you make flows out of your internal state. If you are afraid, you will make small, defensive choices. If you are confident and expectant, you will make bold, expansive choices. Over time, these small choices compound into the results you see in your life. The outer world is not random. It is a delayed reflection of the inner conversations you have been having with yourself for years. To shift your external circumstances, you must first become aware of what you are thinking and believing on a daily basis. Awareness is the first step because you cannot change what you refuse to see. Once you are aware, you can begin the process of reprogramming your mind. This requires you to intentionally feed yourself with thoughts and beliefs that support the life you want to create. You must speak words that align with your vision, even before you see evidence of it in your environment. You must act as though abundance is flowing, even when the results are not yet visible. This inner alignment creates a state of congruence that begins to draw external experiences into harmony with your mindset. Your inner world sets the thermostat for your outer world. You can temporarily increase your income or improve your circumstances, but if your internal thermostat is still set on lack and limitation, you will eventually return to the level that feels familiar. The only way to break this cycle is to reset the thermostat by expanding your mindset, upgrading your beliefs, and elevating your emotional state. When you do the work to change on the inside, you don't have to chase external results. They begin to show up as a natural byproduct of the transformation that has taken place within you. True abundance is not something you chase. It's something you attract by the person you become. Most people spend their lives running after money, opportunities, and success, thinking that if they can just grab hold of the right strategy or the right connection, they will finally achieve abundance. But chasing creates an energy of desperation and scarcity can never produce abundance. You don't attract wealth by running after it. You attract wealth by aligning yourself with the laws that govern it and becoming the kind of person who naturally draws it in. Abundance is the fruit of alignment. When your thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and actions are aligned with abundance, you don't have to force success to happen. It begins to flow to you because you are operating in harmony with the principles of increase. Most people operate in misalignment. They say they want prosperity, but their dominant thoughts are of lack. They desire freedom, but their actions are driven by fear. They want opportunities, but they close themselves off with doubt and hesitation. This internal conflict repels the very things they are trying to attract, because your outer world can never rise higher than your inner state. The process of becoming is about transformation, not just information. You can read all the books, attend all the seminars, and study all the techniques, but until you change at the level of identity, nothing will stick. Abundance flows to people who believe they are worthy of it, who see themselves as creators instead of victims, and who act with the confidence of someone who knows wealth is a natural expression of their value to the world. It's not about pretending or faking confidence. It's about genuinely shifting the way you see yourself and your relationship to wealth. This shift requires you to let go of old programming. Many people grew up hearing that money is evil, that rich people are selfish, or that it's virtuous to struggle. These beliefs take root in the subconscious and silently block abundance. You can work as hard as you want, but if deep down you believe wealth is bad or that you don't deserve it, you will sabotage yourself every time success starts to appear. To attract abundance, you must replace those beliefs with new ones that affirm wealth is good, that you are capable, and that you are a channel through which good flows into the world. Becoming the person who attracts abundance also means mastering your emotional state. You cannot operate from frustration, fear, or envy and expect prosperity to flow. These emotions create resistance in the mind and body. Gratitude, joy, and peace, on the other hand, create a state of openness where abundance can enter. When you learn to dwell in a state of gratitude for what you already have and expectation for what's to come, you align yourself with the frequency of wealth and it begins to show up in ways you could not have predicted. Action is the final expression of becoming. Abundance does not come to those who sit and wait. It comes to those who take aligned action. This is not frantic, scattered effort born out of fear of missing out. It is deliberate, purposeful action that flows from a place of clarity and confidence. When you act from this place, doors open, resources appear, and connections form because you are no longer chasing. You are attracting. The person you are today has created the life you are living now. If you want to change your results, you must first change yourself. You cannot expect new fruit if you are not willing to grow into a new version of yourself. Abundance is a mirror reflecting your level of growth, your mindset, and the value you bring to others.